Hi, I'm Nick Bovis, president of Lefty O'Doul's Foundation for Kids. When I first took over the restaurant in San Francisco, I started researching about Lefty O'Doul's, and I found a really interesting story about Lefty that gave me insight into his whole life and purpose. In 1931, Babe Ruth and Lefty O'Doul's shared a stateroom on a trip over to Japan. On that trip, they bonded, and Babe Ruth shared something about his upbringing and how baseball changed his life.
Something that Babe Ruth had said to Lefty made a lasting impression on Lefty O'Doul, and he took what Babe Ruth said and brought it with him here to San Francisco.
Babe Ruth said that if it wasn't for baseball, he'd either be in the penitentiary or the cemetery. And he continued to tell him the story about how his father and brother had a violent temper and ended up getting in street fights, and it eventually led to their death. They actually died from injuries in a street fight.
And Lefty truly believed that for every kid that you brought to baseball, that you got to play baseball, he wasn't on the streets. And that's where this comes from. Babe Ruth, through Lefty O'Doul, through this foundation, to the kids in the Bay Area.
Well, the foundation helps children by raising money at a couple different fundraisers we do each year. We do a golf tournament, and we do a dinner here at the restaurant one night around Thanksgiving. And we buy the uniforms and the equipment for underprivileged children to be able to play the great game that we were able to play. And there was never a question of whether we were going to play it or not. We played Little League, but these are kids that wouldn't have that opportunity. So I think the foundation has really been great. I think baseball is one of the best sports. I think sports in general, but baseball, it's not an individual sport like tennis. It's something where everyone has to pull together to be a team.
In San Francisco, you know, this was his hometown. He loved playing here, he loved managing here, and he worked with kids all the time. He was always throwing out baseballs and sponsoring kids for baseball. You know, he never had any children of his own, but he loved kids and he loved bringing the game to them.
And anything we can do for the kids to keep them off the street, to keep them moving forward, and I think that baseball gives a lot of skills.
I think every kid can remember their first mitt, their first baseball mitt. I remember didn't even have a player's name on it. You know, some of them had players' names on it, but mine was an old medalist. Wasn't even a name brand at the time, but I remember that mitt. And I think if we can give some other kids that same memory, the memory of their first baseball mitt, I think that's what really made me want to join this organization and try to help.
Well, right now you see on the news that they're cutting all these programs. They're cutting the school sports, art, history, and if you don't have those activities for after-school sports, kids are going to do stupid things for fun, you know, and they're going to get in trouble. So by having baseball, it keeps them busy, keeps them occupied, but also teaches them teamwork, you know, which is important because nowadays everybody's individual. They want to make something for themselves, but to learn to work together, you can do greater things in life. So we're all working together trying to make this foundation continue a legacy of Lefty O'Doul and help kids stay on the right path.